You want me to check this? Okay. Good morning, guys. Am I audible? Am I audible? All good, right? Okay. The ones online, the ones who join online, can you hear me? Can you confirm? Can you guys hear me? All good? Okay. Right. So, welcome to Sankara and welcome to your new batch and for the new subject of auditing. So, how are you all? Ella saaptingla? Had your breakfast? When was the break? I thought it was between like you had 7 to 8:15, then 8:30 to 10:40, 45. No, I'm here at 11:11. So when did you eat? You got time to eat? Yeah. All good? Feeling sleepy? Not yet, I guess. Okay, fine, cool. Okay, so a quick introduction or a brief about myself. My name is Madhav. So I cleared my chartered accountancy exam in November 2020 attempt. So it's been like 2 years since I cleared. And I'm currently working in Ernst & Young, EY, Big Four, one of the Big Fours, in Financial Accounting Advisory Services Department. So that is about it. And then, yeah, so that's just a very brief intro about myself. If you want to know anything more, I'd be happy to tell you. First, one disclaimer, I talk a bit fast, right? So in case you find me talking too fast, okay, sure. Let me know. You can stop me at any point of time. I will slow down, right? English தான் எப்படின்னு இல்லை தமிழ் பேசினாலும் கொஞ்சம் படபடம் தான் பேசுவேன் கடகடன்னு பேசுவேன் so you can stop me or ask me to repeat something if you don't understand, right? Okay, so before we jump into the subject, I'd like to quickly understand like the pulse of the class. In a sense, I would want to know each of your background. I just want your names, okay, just your name, and like are you like from CPT, like your foundation route, or are you from the direct entry route, right? And if you have already written your group 1 exams or are you yet to write your group 1 exams, okay? Just these 3 things. Your name, are you from foundation or direct entry, and have you written your exams or not, like your group 1 or not, okay? So let's start from the back. Seri, start. Solunga. Be a bit louder, guys, okay? So I think I have a mic, but you guys don't, so be a bit louder. Okay, Santosh Kumar. Okay, direct entry. Have you written G1 or group 1 editing already? Okay, super. Fine. Yes. Okay. Okay, super. So you're through foundation and so you're going to write both groups in a Medan, yeah? Okay. Yeah. Oh, yes, please. A known face. Yeah, go on. Okay. Okay. Have so you've not written any exam till now, like? Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you had to write any exam first time. Okay, cool. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Fine. So then next. Mm-hmm. Okay, going to write both groups. Cool. Okay. Okay. Oh, great. Okay. You already written group 1. Okay, cool. Okay. Right. Okay. Oh, super. Okay. Okay, already written group 1. Okay. Go on, go on. Okay, cool. Okay. Okay, fine. சொல்லுங்க சொல்லுங்க. ம். Great. Okay. ம். எழுதிட்டீங்க, ஆல்ரெடி எழுதியாச்சு. ஓகே, கூல். ஓகே ஓகே, ஆல்ரெடி முன்னாடி எழுதினது இதான் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் எழுதி போறீங்க. குரூப் 2 தான் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணீங்க. சூப்பர். ஓகே ஓகே. ஓ ரைட், கிரேட். எனிபடி?
cleared foundation and last May attempt and one right.
Okay.
Niranjana foundation going to write both.
Okay.
Maharashmi foundation going to write.
Okay.
Direct
ஒரு ஆல்ரெடி கூட எழுதிறீங்க. ஓகே, நீங்க
foundation.
ஓ கிரேட். ஓகே ஓகே. ஓ ஓகே, ஃபைன். Okay.
Hello sir, I'm Sri Vaishnavi. I'm your direct entry route. I'm going to write both groups.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I'm Revati. I'm foundation group. I've given my group.
Already. Okay. Okay. Oh, you already written G1. Great. Okay. 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 Yeah. Okay. Okay, great. So yes, your name and okay. For me, settle down. Cool. Yeah, fine. So your name and have you already written group 1 or not? Are you through foundation or direct entry? So இது மட்டும் சொல்றீங்களா உங்க நேம்? Okay, foundation route, like okay, great. Okay, and have you written inter already, like one group at least, or group 1? Oh, okay, fine, cool. So you have the experience writing. Great, thanks. Okay, what about the ones online? Can you guys unmute yourself one by one and then let me know? I mean, can you quickly introduce yourselves? Maybe you guys have already done this session, I don't know, in the morning or something, but then for me it's the first time, right? So can you guys quickly do it? The ones online? Yeah. Guys, please be a bit silent when they can hear them. Yeah, go on. Okay. Next. Don't make me call out names, just yeah, go on. Okay, Padmesh Mohan. Yeah. Okay, great. Next. Anybody? I mean, I think that there's Akshaya, there's Sridev. Yeah. Go on, Vaishnavi. Yeah. Okay, great. Then? Okay. And I think I still see Akshaya, Harshin, Abhinaya, and a couple of more names. Okay. Yeah.
So this is Harshin.
Yeah.
Foundation and staff.
Okay, great. Everyone done? Anyone else? Okay, fine. So let's quickly get started. It might take me a couple of classes to, I think, memorize all of your names. Okay, so fine. Now, before we get into the actual discussion of the subject and all that, let's Shuma talk. Okay, let's Shuma talk about auditing. Okay, so what is auditing, or have you? So before that, largely by seeing all of you and hearing from what you all say, most of you are direct entry. Correct? Most of you are direct entry. First point. Second point is most of you already written the group 1 exams. Okay, this is the main reason as to why I'm asking this. Okay, so auditing, if you see, is not an isolated subject. It is not like I will read, like, let's say, or the let's say any other paper that's economics, or the one on IT and all that, wherein, or STEM, which is very standalone, right? Of course, we can have an integration between that and other subjects also, but they are pretty much standalone. Like, அதை படிச்சீங்கன்னா அதை கேட்குற கேள்வி அதை வச்சு ஆன்சர் பண்ணிடலாம். Good to go with that, right? When it comes to auditing as a paper, it is an eclectic mix of a lot of things. You have accounts, or you have to know accounts, and you have to know company law here and there, bits and pieces. Then you have to know bits and pieces of, let's say, taxation. So it is an eclectic mix, or like a cluster of a lot of things, a lot of subjects put together. So those who have already finished your G1, right, will definitely have a familiarity to the concept. I hope, right? I hope. So if I'm going to give you like, say, if I'm going to hint you on something, you should be like, at least, at least you must be like, okay, I've heard this somewhere. I should have read this. I guess so, right? However, for those who are starting with G2, or who have not even appeared for any exam till date, I've done only the classes, for them it might be a little, alien to them, right? So that's why I wanted to understand. Okay, so that is my perception of the batch as such. Now, so let's start. Let's make it interactive. Please don't let me scream. Paste என்ன பீட்ட விட்டே இருக்கான்ற மாதிரி தோணும். என்ன ரொம்ப இங்கிலீஷா இருக்குன்னு தோணுனாலும் சொல்லுங்க. தமிழ்ல I can translate as much as I know in Tamil, right? So now let's get started. What do you guys think is auditing, or what do you know about auditing? Anybody? Sorry, அதங்க போர்ட்ல, I mean இதுல ப்ரொஜெக்ட்ல இருக்குன்னு பார்த்து சொல்லுங்களா. Okay, what do you guys know about auditing? What is auditing? Okay, just a second. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Before that, I forgot to ask one main question. How many of you are doing an articleship already? Yeah, ரொம்ப முக்கியமான கேள்வி, அதை விட்டேன்யா. Okay, நல்லா raise your hands nicely, guys. Even the ones online can do this hand raise in Zoom, right? I mean your Google Meet, right? Can I have a count, please? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11. Great. That's a great bunch of people. So which, all of you in your first year, right? 1 or 2 months acha join me at least, right? Okay, that's good enough. That's great enough, right? At least you would have having a fair idea about the things and all that. Great, that's great. Okay, so other than the ones who are going to articles, can the rest of you tell me what you think is auditing? What have you guys? Okay, let's start from the basic. Let's start from the scratch. Okay, இப்படி ஒரு சப்ஜெக்ட் இருக்குன்னு எத்தனை பேருக்கு தெரியும்? How many of you, before I stepped into this classroom, or before I started talking, knew, or before I started projecting, knew that there was a subject like this? இதுக்கு நல்லா தூக்குங்க, இல்லைன்னா ரொம்ப. Okay, cool. So most of you, great, fine. How many of you, out of, I don't know, curiosity or this thing, touch the books? Touch the books. சான்ஸே இல்லை. சரி, பரவாயில்ல. அது ஏதோ 4 பேர் தான் பண்றீங்க, பெருமையா தூக்குங்க. It's okay, you can raise your hands. Well, that's pretty much touching the book. That's great. Cool. So தூக்குங்க நல்லா. Yeah, எத்தனை பேர்? I saw some few hands. Raise them nicely, please. Yeah. Okay, fine. It might have been Greek and Latin, that's fine, but you guys have at least attempted to see it. Cool. Okay, so what do you know about auditing? So yeah, now the basic is done. So let's go to the next question. So what is auditing? So examination of financial statements, books of accounts. Ninga soninga. Anybody else? Okay, so ninga first page படிச்சீங்க தெரியுது. நீங்க நிறைய, you're able to give me the word, you're able to give me the technical terms, but if you're not able to correlate, we'll do that. That's great. I mean, I'm happy that she's answering. What about the others? Seri, what is giving true and fair view? Like, is the auditor going to give a true and fair view, or is he going to check for that? Or what is he going to do? What does he do? He or she? Check. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Oh, great. Yeah, sorry, I'm very sorry. That's another basic question I wanted to ask. How many of you do not know Tamil? I do. Right. Anybody else who do not understand Tamil? Okay. I will largely be doing it in English only. Just in case the others here feel that they're not able to understand something, I will. What's your mother tongue, please? Kannada. Okay, I don't know Kannada, but I can try to maybe. I will do it in English. We'll predominantly do it in English, right? I will try to make whatever you guys don't understand in English, guys. Shh. Okay, whatever you guys don't understand much in English, you can ask me. I'll translate in Tamil for you guys, and we can just do the major part of the class in English. Anyway, that was the plan. Okay. Now, so again, another basic question. So, like I said, at least for the next 15-20 minutes, I want you guys to talk more than me, because for the next 2 hours I'm going to talk. So, right? So like I said, let's start with one more very basic question. So what is the course that you guys studying? Chartered accountancy. Okay, right. So what will you be called as after you finish your exams, or what am I going to be called as? What do you say? Auditors, right? So chartered accountant is the name of the title of the degree and all that, right? So we say lawyer, advocate, right? Similarly, the chartered accountant, auditor. In very colloquially, even in Tamil, they say auditor. They say auditor office, and all that, right? So largely, the word auditor is used, right? So why do you think the word auditor is used? Why is it not just an accountant? I mean, see, chartered accountant is the main name. Why is it not accountant, tax person, or costing expert, or let's say company tax specialist, or income tax act analyst, or something? Why is it not anything else? Why is it called auditor? Okay. Yeah, please sit down. All of you can just sit and answer. Okay. Only since I want to know your faces and names at the same time, I made you all stand up. Otherwise, when you answer in my class, you can jolly well sit and answer. Unless you can get up. That's your choice, right? Unless you want to stand up yourself, there's no compulsion. You can sit and answer. So yes, please, your answer.
Because only a chartered accountant is authorized to audit the books of.
Perfect. Right.
His signature is there.
Yeah, has the value. Perfect. So ultimately, yeah, so we're again coming down to the same point. So when we say an auditor is the only person who has the authority or the power or the knowledge to audit, right? When we say that, we're coming back to the term audit, right? Yeah. And that is what we're going to largely be studying. So okay, next question. So do you think auditing is a theory subject, or what do you think? Do you think it's a theory subject? Yes or no?
It's purely theory.
Purely theory. Anyone else having? Theory practical. So how is it practical? Why is it practical? Exactly. Perfect. Right. So very true. Let's say, okay. So basically, this is something that you're definitely going to apply in your real life. Again, like people who are doing an articleship will definitely know. See, again, let me be very specific. How far you actually do it, how far you actually comply with it is not what I'm talking about. I'm telling what you should be doing, right? That is what we're talking about. So largely, whatever you're going to be studying, yes, it is purely theory. I will agree to our friend here. But then it is purely theory. Today, when we are reading it, we are studying it, we're trying to understand it, right? But tomorrow, like when you're actually going to get into the field work, like you'll start doing your articleship, or when you qualify and become a chartered accountant, if you choose to do this, then audit is something that you'll have to do. The moment you say you have to do an audit, it is a verb, like you're doing, it's an action that you do, right? So it is very much practical also. So a lot of people have this misconception that audit is theory. You audit nale bore, audit nale theory, and all that, right? So that is a myth to be broken. Okay. So it is a myth that I'd like to break down for you. Okay. That is not the case. Okay. Also, another huge myth is that auditing is a non-scoring subject, or audit is a subject where mark whatever you write, they will not give you the mark. That is a very, very commonly known myth, I'd say. Okay. Because I'm not only you guys, I'm telling you even from old syllabus. I'm saying I did my inter like in 2017, which was almost 5-6 years ago. Since back then, or even before that also, always this was the, like the Hitler paper of your group 2. Okay. Everyone feared only this most. Because, of course, there was something called as ITSM. You guys have ISCA or something, right? EAS. EAS. Okay, right. EAS. Right. So that was the most feared paper as well. But yeah, these are like, they always have a heavy competition. Attempt on attempt will be, which is the tougher one, right? But yeah, ultimately, they've always had this understanding that audit is very difficult, or audit is something that scares people, or that you cannot score marks. That is another myth. So first, audit nale theory da, mokka da, bore da is a myth. First myth. Second myth I like to bust today is that it is a non-scoring subject. Not at all. Okay, it's very much something you can score in. Okay, all the more easier to score now in the new syllabus because of your paper pattern. Okay, So we can first discuss your paper pattern before we get into the stuff. So how many of you know the paper pattern for your auditing paper? 30 marks of MCQ, right? Then 70 marks of descriptive theory. That is the theory. Let's break it down further. So out of your 30 marks of MCQ, okay? So I guess you guys already know this, right? I don't have to write it down at all. You guys already know this. So I'm just doing it orally, right? So out of your 30 marks of MCQs, you will have 10 marks of case-based MCQ or an integrated case study kind, okay? So that will be basically each MCQ will carry 2 marks, right? So 5 into 2, 10 marks. And the mari rendu irukum. Math side cha jastiya, okay? 5 into 2, 5 questions, 2 marks each, 10 marks, case study 1. Another 5 questions, 2 marks each, 10 marks, case study 2. So I have case study 1, case study 2. These are integrated case studies, okay? Like your comprehension in school. Have you all done that in English? Kandipa Pandra or Katturai in Tamil or any other thing, any language has this comprehension, right? It's like that. So that is your 20 marks, like 10 and 10. Then there's 10 more marks of individual MCQs. 1 mark, okay? So ultimately out of 30, even if we are not over ambitious, let's say we can get around 20 easily, provided you read, okay? So you know, you have to read, you have to do some preparation. When you do the base preparation, is it okay or fair enough for me to ask 15 to 20? Not 30 or 35 on 30. Just at least an extra mark for good handwriting. That's shading down. MCQ is only shading, right? So let's just say MCQ part. So let's just go for the 15 to 20 marks. Let's just say 20 marks there. Then within your 70, let's further break it down. You have correct, incorrect. That is like your true or false, right? That comes for 14 marks. 7 questions into 2 correct. It is pretty much, but you can easily score and capitalize from that, right? So out of the 14 marks, let's say you get somewhere like say 8 marks, 10 marks, 8 marks, 8. So there's 20 plus 8 already you have scored. How much do you need to scrape through the paper? Let's not talk about scraping through. We'll get great marks. We'll try to achieve for exemption and all that. But to start with, right? First day, let's start from here, gradually, you know, go up like a plane taking off, right? So let's say 140. So how much more is left? 20 in MCQ, 8 in true or false. How much in theory? 12 mark, right? Is it not easy to capitalize through your question answers? I mean, if you are, again, we'll see how the syllabus goes. So don't you think it's possible? Right? Okay. So on day, yes or no, okay. Okay. Right. So basically, we busted 2 myths. One is it's only theory paper. You're going to practically get down and get your hands dirty and do the work and do this only in your articleship. If you go to a small or a medium-sized firm, you will be given an exposure of everything. You'll have audit, you'll have tax, you'll have everything to do, right? Whereas if you go for a bigger firm or a big 4, then automatically you have only main 2 streams to choose, audit or tax. The moment you go for interview, people ask you audit or tax. So I think from this discussion, chartered accountants are called auditors. One of the main stream of articleship is audit, right? And it's pretty much a practical paper and scoring. So telling all of these points, I think we can jolly well conclude that it's one of the vital papers, right? One of the core papers or one of the backbone kind of papers, right? So I would like to say that it is very, very important, but let's not take the stress of it. Okay, let's chill, let's have fun, and I'll try my best to do whatever I can to make the subject interesting, and we'll try to, try out some memory techniques, this, that, for you to remember the content. That's one thing. Next thing, I will be 24/7 mostly approachable on WhatsApp. Okay, I will online always. So just in case, from day 1, which is today, anytime, any doubts, you can ping me. Okay. Max to max, I'll try to reply within a day or 2. Okay. Worst case, if I'm too held up, it might take 2 or 3 days, but max to max within a day or 2, I can respond to your doubts or queries. So that is the other thing I wanted to say. Okay. Now, with this basic thing, I'm giving like a 2-minute pause, not a break, a pause, wherein you can ask me if you want to ask me anything. It can be about me, about the subject, anything. We are going to do a lot more. Intro content we will slowly, gradually progress. But any questions you guys have for me? Even the ones online can ask me. Any questions, any doubts? Anything? Yes, go on. Yeah. Kai kamsha neenga maranjittinga. Seri solunga. Yeah. Sorry? Sorry, I didn't hear you. புரியல என்னாச்சு? சத்தமா கேளுங்க. யாரோ கேட்காதீங்களா? பரவாயில்ல கேளுங்க என்னாச்சு? சாரி? எனக்கு கேட்கலடா, சத்தமா கேளுங்கம்மா. I didn't hear him. What is he saying? you know. யாருக்கு ஏதாவது டவுட் இருந்தா கேட்க கையை காமிச்சிட்டு அவங்க மறந்துட்டாங்க ஒன்று ஏதோ சொல்லணும்னு நினைச்சேன் நான் அதான் கேட்டேன். You have anything to say? Anybody? No? Okay. Yes, please. கண்டிப்பா. No, pretty much. That's something you want to say. Can someone just tell Hari, sir? I mean, பண்ணலாம் நான் ரிமோட் எங்கிட்ட இல்லை, so I have to ask them, but anything else? Any other queries? Anything? நீங்க கேட்டா ஒரு 2 நிமிஷம் பொழுது போகும், இல்லாட்டி நான் அடுத்து போயிடுவேன், பேச ஆரம்பிக்கலாம். So anything? So you can be, I mean, you can really be free and open. Yes, please. Yes.
It will be like 50 marks for auditing and
Okay, great. That's a lovely question. So the word we will be learning about the word assurance as well. Inna sir audit பத்தி மட்டும் பேசுறீங்க, assurance என்ன சொல்லவே இல்லையேன்னு கரெக்டா கேட்டாரு. Okay, now the word, I mean, so here ultimately the paper is auditing, right? What we do in that is to provide an assurance. So the chartered accountants provide you, what is the meaning of the word assurance? நீங்களே சொல்லுங்க. Exactly. So you're giving an assurance, you're giving a guarantee about something, right? So here, basically, to give a very crude definition, auditors do the audit of financial information or financial statements, okay, to give an assurance to the users of the financial statements, okay. So what we do is audit, what we give as an end result is an assurance. And there are different types of assurance. We'll be learning about that. Okay, so this paper is 100 marks. Audit assurance ella onnu da tani word cut. It's not like your FM economics or EIS SM, not like that. It's an entire thing is only for your auditing and assurance, right? Okay, any other questions? Anything else? One more disclaimer from my side. I talk very fast, yeah, and then you might have to bear with my handwriting. It's not the best that you can find, but please do bear with it. புரியலனா கேளுங்க, நான் சொல்றேன். Okay, so I'm yet to, என்னாச்சு இதோட மோசமா பாத்துக்கேன்றீங்களா? என்னது இல்ல அப்பெல்லாம் நினைக்காதீங்க, எழுத ஆரம்பிச்சா தெரியும். அதான் வாயிலே எல்லாம் வட சுட்டுருக்குன்னா அதான் காரணம், சரியா? ஓகே, ஸோ ஓகே, ஸோ எஸ் ப்ளீஸ். ஓகே, கிளாஸ் பிளே கிரவுண்ட் மாதிரி யூஸ் பண்ண வரைக்கும் சரிதான். எனிதிங் இஸ் ஃபைன், எனிதிங் ஒர்க்ஸ், கூல். ஓகே, ஸோ யா, okay, depends. Okay, see, mostly I'm not too sure about today. Maybe we can have like a 5-minute break. I don't want you to move out because உங்களை அம்சாச்சுன்னா திரும்பி உள்ள கேதர் பண்ணுறதுக்கு அதுக்கு ஒரு 15 minutes ஆயிடும் எனக்கு. அதனால not doing that today. But going forward, mostly our class, so I'll meet you mostly on the weekends only. Okay, so I'll maybe do that about the classes. So என்னாச்சு இப்போ போடணுமா உங்களுக்கு? சரி, அப்போ வருவார். நம்பிக்கை தான் வாழ்க்கையின் தும்பிக்கை. வந்துருவார், ப்ளீஸ் வெயிட். ஓகே, ஸோ ரைட். What was I saying? Yeah, so when it comes to the classes, I'll mostly meet you guys on the weekends, right? So when we catch up over the weekends, we'll have longer sessions, of course. So I'm not going to meet you on a everyday or alternate day basis like your other faculties. So we might have like a 4-hour long session. So obviously we'll have a breakfast break that is for 30 minutes. Plus we'll have like say a 5 to 10 minute break other than that. Okay, it's like your breakfast break obviously is there. Tavira will have 5 to 10 minutes of break. Okay, definitely. From next week, and any 4 minutes edukka poradilla. Okay, I'll leave you by in like 1.5 hours, right? So we're not having much of breaks today, but that's that. The pattern in which we'll do the classes, I'll maybe tell you that, and then we can finally get our hands on the syllabus and stuff. So we are here going to use the institute's material. Okay, I'll also give you a justification for that. See, you might find a lot of fancy books by multiple authors and different faculties in the market, which is very good, with due respect, there's no doubt. However, if you have seen the trend of the institute or how things have been, everything comes from only from the study material. So ultimately, when someone else wants to make a replica of it or make it more colorful, okay, right. When they want to make a replica of it or like a copy of it, what will they do? How will it be made better than institute material? They can give you some pictures, pictorial, representations, graphs and all that. They make it colorful, right? Ideally, your institute material is colorful, but print பண்ணும்போது black and white, now you get it. It's the PDFs are color only, okay? Anyways, so they do that. If they're going to do a lot of pictures, it's going to make their book bigger than institute book, so they won't do that. What are they going to shorten the content from the institute book? Then what happens? You'll miss out on some. At least something is bound to be cut, correct? That, this, they have to minus. Only then the book will be smaller than this book, right? Right? When they do that, what happens is sometimes, again, with due respect, I'm not saying every author's book is like that, some content gets missed out. Correct? The question. So when they ask you a question from that, you might not even have known it or studied it before, right? That's one major delimit or a disadvantage. Also, institute material in our times, like 5 years back, 4 years back, when I was studying, was really bad, was not even this good, right? So that is the reason why most of us, including myself, preferred other authors' books or other faculty books. Now, your institute material itself has been built in such a very beautiful way that it's very nice. But yes, you have 2 modules, it is fat, it is thick, it is big, agreed. But within that, I will try my best to say on what we need to focus on. Like I'll make sure you guys underline. If you guys take down notes by yourself, nothing like it, best. Okay. If you have the habit of taking down notes, please go for it. Take down notes in your own ways you can understand. Mark in the textbook, you can scribble, you can underline, highlight, whatever. Cool. In your textbook, right? You can do all of that. And yeah, so that way we will try to focus on institute's book and institute's content mostly. Then there is something called the standards and auditing. Now, gradually, let's just get into the main topics as well. So for that part, when we talk about standards and auditing, for that alone, I have myself typed out a small material. That's like a condensed version, but it has most of the important things that are required from the institute material, main content. Okay. So that we will have like an 83-page material. Okay, which has been tried and tested. In my previous batch also, I had a word with my students who just wrote their exams and they said it was helpful for the last minute revision. Okay, so I don't want to bug you guys with some extra content and say institute 2 modules plus my material. No, okay, it's not the case. We will do some of the things from the institute material and the standards will be done from the handouts. We will call them the handout. You will get that material mostly by Monday or Tuesday, which is before the next auditing class. Everyone will have the physical hard copy of the material. Okay, the online students, you guys can come and collect it if you want to, or I mean if you guys get the PDF, I don't know, you can check with Hari sir about it. Okay, so that is the thing. So how will we do in the class? I will explain a concept, we can discuss the concept like we're doing things now. Then we will read out the actual content from the study material or the handouts, because ultimately whether we like it or not, whether we call it practical or not, it is still a theory paper. At least as the world brands it, is a theory paper. So we will have to know the exact wordings or the technical terms or the wordings, right? So for that reason, we have to, any problem with the fan? All good, right? So we need to know the technical terms, right? That's the second thing. So we have to read through it. So don't again feel like then LKG, UKG, we have to read the things to familiarize with it. And the more you keep listening in the class, trust me, the lesser work you have to do in the home. Because எங்கயோ கேட்ட மாதிரி இருக்கே அப்படியாவது கேட்கும். நீங்க கேட்கவும் இல்ல பார்க்கவும் இல்லனா ஏதோ ஒரு தடவை சொன்னா நான் தூங்கிட்டேன்டா அப்படின்பீங்க நாளைக்கு, right? So we don't want that to happen. The second thing. Third thing, which is again very, very vital, is gradually, maybe as we finish 1 chapter, 2 chapters, we will try to allocate some time from every day's class to discuss past papers, RTPs or MTPs. In my view, that is the most important thing. Most important thing, right? Again, those who have already written your exams must be aware of the fact that there's no better preparation than RTPs, MTPs and your past papers to look through the content, right? So this is the structure of the class. Okay. Again, I'm pausing here. Any doubts, or do you want me to repeat something, or can we go into the main content? Test. Okay. So when it comes to keeping tests, I think it's left to Hari sir and the admin to decide. Okay. So we will complete the portions. Since I said we have only week, also the coverage, I'll try my best to slow down as much as I can. And in case I'm fast, you guys can still ask me to slow down, raise your hands, stop me, or ask me to repeat. Okay. Anna, we don't have like we don't have nariya classes. We don't have multiple days of classes. We have a lot of hours in the same day. Like Saturday, Sunday, 4 for others, like 8 hours. Other faculty might come 4 days, 2 hours each, right? Same math, 4 into 2, we're doing 2 into 4, right? So don't think of it like one day like cover pantoma. It's not that. It is almost equal to 2 classes in the same day, right? So we are going to be able to cover so much because we have a longer sessions, right? That's the main reason. Okay. So in case you feel it's too fast or you want me to repeat something, no problem. We will repeat, we'll gradually do it. That is one. But one humble request would be every day, I mean, not today, of course, even in the next class, since we're doing only 2 days a week, right? On the Sunday, அடுத்த Saturday தான் எடுத்தீங்க அப்படின்னா you might not have the familiarity as much. Okay. I don't want you to do this every day. It's totally not required. Not like I did it every day for me to advise you people to do it. But make sure you spend say 5 to 10 minutes to just see what was done. Okay. just see, like just brush through our first page path and that much is a good enough thing. That's a good start. I mean, not even joking, it's a good start. So the moment you start seeing it, right? And one more thing, I'll give you a disclaimer. Some chapters will be really interesting, some chapters will be really difficult, some chapters will be really boring. Well, let me open about it in the day one. So not everything is going to be very much fun, and if everything is going to be very interesting, it's going to go the same way. So there's not going to be no ups and downs, right? So the fun comes only when it's up and down and all that. Right? So we're going to have good chapters. We're going to have, I won't say what is what, because it's left to your personal choice. Personally, I don't like some, but as a teacher, I can't say I don't like it, so I'm going to skip it. I won't do that. But later when you study, skipping, omitting, last minute selective studying, it's always your choice. But though I won't advise it, right? So that's mainly with it. Okay, so basically we'll study from study mat only, and then I will give you I explain the concept, then we'll read from the book, and then we will solve the past papers or just discuss the how to write the answers or how to solve MCQs in your mistake, right? Okay. Next question. So for you guys to talk, do you what are the how many modules of study mat do you have for auditing? Institute book யார் சார் வாங்குறாங்கன்றீங்களா? சரி வாங்க அப்படி அதெல்லாம் இல்ல சார் ரெண்டு தலையாட்டம். Sorry, 2 modules. Are you sure it's only 2? Someone's rating 3. What's the third module, sir? Great. So you guys know that there's something called as pronouncements that exists, right? Audit or subject irukku theriyadhu. Okay, adu therinjidhu, but you don't, I mean, know the pronouncements. So how many of you didn't know something called as pronouncements? பரவாயில்ல தைரியமா கை தூக்குங்க. அது இருந்தது எனக்கு தெரியும், நான் யூஸ் பண்ணதே இல்லை நான், அதனால like everyone. So okay, great. It's totally fine. So your auditing pronouncements is nothing but your standards on auditing. Okay, so basically the pronouncements book is nothing. It's so huge, but you can ask me why it's so huge, because it is the okay. So have you guys finished law? Right, I mean, at least okay, most of you have done group 1 will know law. Any law for that matter has something called as a bare act, right? Bare act means, so when you want to Google something about any section, let's say section 139 of Companies Act or section I don't know 57 of your Income Tax Act, you can quickly Google and you have tax canon, that this blah blah blah, CA Club India and all that websites coming up. They are the private websites, people putting like blogging, right? People put up the blogs and write their content. Is that the original act? No. They have studied the act, they have given an interpretation or explained it. What is the bare act? So for the Companies Act, you can go to the Ministry of Corporate Affairs portal, you can download an ebook or a PDF. Same way Income Tax Act. So bare act means it is the bare standard or bare law that was framed by the government, or like, you know, in India for that matter. So that is like the mother document or the original law. Based on that only we make study material, textbooks, etc, etc. Okay, so same way auditing pronouncements is like the base material that ICA has given, right? Like ICA has actually issued the standards for real time use, and that has been made as a pronouncement book. So that is like the bare act or the bare standard, whatever you want to call it. That, yes, that is there as a part of your syllabus, but in your new study material, the 2 modules, they have been incorporated into multiple chapters. They've been integrated within your chapters, right? Interspersed. So as we do the chapters, we will do the standards also, hand in hand. And instead of that pronouncements book, I've given an 83-page summary material. That's what we're going to use, right? So that is why it's okay if you didn't know about the pronouncements book. We're not going to use it anyways, okay? So that's one thing, right? So again, I'm pausing. Any doubts? Anything? Either very you understand what we are up to, what is happening and all that, right? Okay. Okay. So, okay. Sorry, 1 second. New to this technology as well. So, yeah. Okay. So, let's first start with the standards. So, your main syllabus will be divided into 3 parts. Okay. Standards on auditing, then company audit, other chapters. I would like to call it like this. It's my way of dividing the syllabus. Standards on auditing, company audit, other chapters. Company audit is predominantly your Companies Act. Okay. If you guys want to write it down, you can write it down. I don't think you want me to write it, but okay, let's give it a try. Just a sec. Okay, so your auditing. Okay, don't judge my handwriting, guys. Okay, so okay, பரவாயில்லைன்றீங்களா? யாரு பரவாயில்லைன்றீங்க? Okay, not so bad. Okay, cool. And so auditing, right? We are going to have it as three parts. Okay, so one is your essay. Okay, essay is nothing but your standards on auditing. Okay, then there is company audit, and then the last part is others. Okay, so one is standards on auditing, one is company audit, the audit now. Okay, and then the last thing is others. Okay, so why are we dividing it like this? Because your standards on auditing is going to play a major part. When I'm saying standards, I'm not only meaning the 83-page summary that I'm going to give you, it also means very much the institute material. So your first book, first module, chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, I think when 5 and 6, most of your chapters from the first book are largely standard based. Either some reference of the standard is given in the material, ICA material, or on the chapter or standard. Okay, for example, there's something called as audit sampling. Okay, I'm just giving you a random example. Audit sampling. Index book. Anyone having the study material by any chance? ICA study. Yes, please. Open your index. Open your index. Please open the index. Audit sampling. Chapter number 6 or 7. 6, 7, 8, 6. 6 chapter. Suma soltingla. Siri path solunga. 7. Okay. So audit sampling is chapter 7, right? That is only a 30-page in your study mat. 35 pages. That entire thing is nothing but essay 530, which is a particular standard. So either an entire standard is equal to an entire chapter, or one entire chapter. For example, the third chapter has a lot of standards incorporated within it. Okay. So that is the way we're going to go about it. Okay. So your standards is one major part. So by essay here, I don't mean only the separate standards, but also the chapters that encompass the standards. Cool. Then company audit, that is mostly your Companies Act. Then your others. Okay. So this is one major part of it. Now, next thing, if within this standards on auditing, okay, we have, let's see the number of standards that we have. Okay, this is basically like your syllabus. Okay, this is like your syllabus that your ICA has given you, but this is mostly your November 22 attempt syllabus. So your exact syllabus, inclusion, exclusion will come out a little later, but it will mostly be the same. So we are going about with this and having the inclusions, exclusions accordingly. Okay, so as you can see, let's scroll down. So we have totally 27 standards that are applicable for you guys. Sorry, you want me to zoom in more? Oh, okay, just a second. Is it visible? 1 second. Okay, can you guys see it? 1 second. Okay, is it fine? Better? Okay, fine. Anyway, I'll mostly be only saying things because I don't write much, but if I do, I'll just make sure you guys can see. Okay, right. So as you can see, there are 27 standards that are applicable for us. Okay, that is for CA intermediate new syllabus. Only 27 standards are applicable. Okay. However, there are other standards as well. Okay. So let me just show you. So these are the excluded ones. 9 standards are excluded. Okay. 9 standards are excluded. So 27 plus 9, 11. 36. So in total, Institute has issued 36 standards on auditing. Out of that, how much do we have? 27 only we have. Okay. 27 we have. 27 only we have. Okay. So 9 standards are not there. Right. This is with regard to your standards on auditing. Right. So we will see also. Sorry, anyone say anything? Okay. So this is okay. I'll have to definitely zoom into this one. It's nothing much, but the same thing that I typed out myself. It's like in a small Excel, and then I just have a PDF version here. So whatever I've highlighted or marked in red, I mean, if you guys want to share this later on the group with you, okay. See, whatever I've highlighted in red, okay, are the ones that you that are not applicable. Okay, that are not applicable. NA is not applicable, so it's not applicable for inter. Sir, in the yes no enna sir abdina, that is with regard to my handout. So I told you I'm going to give you a handout, right? 83-page summary thing. So that will also not have some essays. Why is that the case? Ayya jolly omit pandro. Illa, that's not the case. We are going to study those from the study mat, like the essay 530, essay 520, essay 700, couple of standards where the entire study material itself is that standard only. Then there is no point of me making a summary of it and again giving. It will again become like some author's book or some outside publication. I don't want to do that. Those chapters which are equal to essay or the same as essay, we will study from the chapter book itself, study material itself, ICA study mat itself. That's how we're going to go. Okay. So the not applicable NA red ones not there for you, so you can chill. And then the remaining ones, yes or no. Yes is whether it's there in the handout or not. Okay, so if you can see this thing, whether it's there in the handout or not. Okay, similarly, I've done a small exercise of mapping your chapters. One second. Yeah. So I've done this small exercise of mapping your chapters. You have totally 13 chapters. Okay. So these will be indexed within our code. You can cross check. So the same thing that you have in an index. So your 13 chapters mapped or linked with each of the essays. So I'm trying to tell you that this is the pattern which we will study. Okay. So we're going to study these essays also, and then we're going to study these chapters also parallelly. So that's how we're going to go about. Okay. There's only one very small homework or generally that I'd want you to do. You'll understand when you get the printout materials. When you're going to study from the handout for the standards, same content will be there in the study material also. Just be a bit smart enough and put little hard work and efforts. Make sure you don't sleep in class, konjo, okay? Because when you are going to read something from the handout, same thing is there in study mat. Don't waste your time reading in study mat. You just it's a one-time exercise. Whenever whatever standards, 27 standards are there, for all of the 27 standards, you read the handout, you see the handout, what is given, right? Based on the handout, you can understand what we are going to talk about. Same time, see the study mat, same content will be there. Okay, just do that compare document kind of a thing. And if you're happy, satisfied, the handout has everything, then mark it there such that it is there repeated here. So don't read it 2 times. Reading it 2 times, okay, it's going to be a revision, that's different thing. But same thing you're going to keep reading again, there's no point, right? That is one. And the other thing is specifically mark those things inside your study mat which is extra that is not there in the handout. There might be something because your latest edition of study material might have some content that is there in the material but not in my handout. So that you can extra mark in your study material. Is that clear? Okay. So this is the main thing. So I spoke about your weightage and all that is also done. Okay, it's the handouts. Fine. Okay, so it's 11:57. We'll take a quick 5-minute break and then we'll start. I don't want you to move. I mean, if you really want to use the restroom or move, you can. But then just chill in the same place, talk, and we'll start after 5 minutes. Okay. Quick 5-minute break. Quick 5 minutes. Okay, can we start? Guys, can we start? 5 minutes, 7 minutes ஆயிடுச்சு. சரி, can we start? Okay. Everyone back? Okay, I guess mostly. Okay, right. So now we are going to jump into the core subject finally. Okay. So again, we'll go back to one question that I already asked you. We're going to do it again. So what do you know by audit, or what do you mean as audit? So we'll first discuss, like I said, the pattern of the class. We'll discuss first and then go into your study material or the handout, read the content, like read the actual words, and then progress. Okay. So today's agenda will largely be to understand what is audit, basic, just the basic. And we will also side by side do essay 200. That is the first essay. Okay. Also, just one thing I forgot to mention, or I forgot to explain. Just a sec. Okay. The standards, if you notice, yeah. Okay. So if you notice the standards, they are numbered in a somewhat sequential way, right? Somewhat sequential, because you can see straight from let's say let me just, I don't know if you can see it. Can you guys see it? Is it visible? Like, cool. Okay. So let's say from after your I don't know, let's say after 299 we're going on to 300, right? And then after 330 there is 402 and there's 500. So it is not exactly sequential, but there is somewhat some kind of a sequence, right? I'll tell you the reason and logic and then we'll start. Okay. So the point here is before we go to that, and one more basic question. Standard na enna sir? Neenga solunga ellarum. What is the standard? I'm pretty sure group 1, group 2, ESOP, I also saw the live and all that. So you guys did ESOP, you guys did the 2 sums from ESOP, there's elaborate explanation, all that, right? So guidance note, INDAS, IFRS, AS, right? Even otherwise, I'm pretty sure you guys know what that is. So what is the standard? Define standard. Then we'll see what is accounting standard. Then we'll come to standards and auditing. There is AS, there's the SA. So we'll see what the difference is. So what is the standard? Guidance, framework, okay? Set of rule which cannot be changed. Sorry? Base. It's a base for something, you're saying? Okay. Be a bit louder, guys. Okay, so base for something, okay. Right. Rules, okay. Right. So, can you name some accounting standards for me? AS1, AS2, AS3. What is AS1? What is AS2? Disclosure. AS2 is inventories. Cash flow statement. Okay. Right. Okay. So basically, you have accounting standards for most of the topics. There is one for impairment, one is intangible assets, one is PPE. There is one for your, amalgamation. There is all that, right? Different things. So your accounting standards are there. Similarly, so basically, standard means it's a set of rules or a framework or a guidance on how to do something. Why do we need that? Okay. Anyways, uniformity. Definitely uniformity, right? Because when I'm doing an accounts or you're doing an accounts, it needs to be the same, right? Balance sheet should tally, debit should be equal to credit, trial balance should tally. We know these kind of basic fundamentals. Then we build upon it using the standards in accounting or accounting standards, which tell you how to value something, how to measure. Basically, what valuation, that is measurement, recognition, derecognition, disclosure, all of these will be given in any of your standard. Same way, when you say auditing, we kept saying audit, but not do you not want to do an audit. So what do you do in an audit? We have some standards that tell you how you should do the audit, and some parts of it talk about what you need to do in the audit as well, right? So you do need the essays, or there is some kind of a standard rules or guidelines in order to maintain uniformity. So same like your accounting standards, here for auditing, we have auditing standards. So, AS, auditing standards, accounting standard, AS1 power 1, not that. It's just SA. It's AS, is SA. They've named it SA because standards on auditing. Similar to how we still have AS, there's something also called INDAS, right? What is INDAS? Indian accounting standards. They're different from AS. I hope you know that, right? AS different, INDAS different. Sorry. So, what is INDAS? I mean, you'll learn in a final level. I know you don't have it now, but do you have any idea why it is different? What is it? AS? Exactly. Right. So so what is IFRS? Full form? So reporting standards. Right. IFRS, International Financial Reporting Standards. So Ninga sonadhu correct na? So your accounting standards are the ones that have been in India for a very long time. AS for everybody. Recently they introduced the INDAS. Recently, it's like a couple of years ago. they introduce Ind AS, which is Indian accounting standard, again for Indian entities, but not everybody. Only some, they have turnover limit, other criteria. So based on that, banking company, normal company, listed company, etc. After a specific limit, when they cross the particular thing, then when they cross the threshold, they have to use the Ind AS. That is the basic logic. Ind AS is nothing but an adoption of the IFRS. It is not a replica of IFRS, an adoption. Why you call adopted? Because we have not just done a copy paste of the text from that, but instead we have made the tweaks or the amendments as per Indian framework, or in the Indian, how things work in the Indian system. Similarly, your standards on auditing, SAs, are also there in India. It's issued by the ICAI. There's something called as AASB, okay? Auditing and Assurance Standards Board, AASB, okay? We'll learn that in the study mat. We'll go through it in depth later, but I'm just giving you a brief. AASB, Auditing and Assurance Standard Board, AASB. They issue the standards on auditing, SAs. Then that also has been brought in line with especially the numbering. I'm talking about all of this because of the numbering, okay? Because we numbered it like this. You need to know why it's numbering, like why it's numbered like this, why we skip from 200 to 300 and all that. So this has been numbered in line with the international standards on auditing. That is by IAASB, that is International Auditing and Assurance Standards Board. I mattu setha podum rendu word la nyabam vechukala. Auditing Assurance Standards Board, AASB. I mattu podunga, international aidum. Indian illa, international, okay? Right. So that is the base thing, and the numbering is according to that. So we can classify the standards into series, okay? So just a second, so we can classify these into like series, okay? So what is mean by series? What do you mean by series? Okay, so we have the 200 series. The series is basically based on the numbering, okay? So series, there is 200 series, there is 300 series, 400 series, 500, 600 and 700. So when I say series, it obviously means that from each of this you have a couple of things, right? So let's say your 600 series has 3 standards, 700 has around 4 to 5, okay, and 500 series is the longest, it has a long list of standards. So this is the bifurcation, okay? So these are going to be integrated with our subject, in your chapters, and we're going to study it. Is that clear? Right? Cool. Okay. Fine. So now let's again start from the basic. Now is your turn to talk. Okay, I've done a lot of talking. So audit. Again, we're starting from the base. Audit. So everyone, you can start talking. What do you think is audit? One by one. So, நீங்க first சொன்னீங்க, திரும்பி சொல்லுங்க, என்ன சொன்னீங்க? Okay, so she is saying that it's an examination of the FS. One second. Okay, 1 second. It's an exam. Not doing anything. Just a second, guys. Okay. Okay. Already handwriting. Okay. I'll strike it off. Okay, just write it again. So let's say, so saying examination of FS, right? So saying examination of FS. Who said independent examination? Cool. So you're saying independent. Okay. Independent. Okay. Then any other words, anything else? See, I don't want you to tell from the textbook. It's okay. Study matter. What do you know? Sorry? Who's saying it? Can you be? Oh, you're only saying. Okay, auditor's opinion. Okay. So it's an independent examination of financial statements, and thereby what happens is an auditor gives an opinion. So there's something called as an opinion that comes into the picture. Okay. Any other words? Audit na enakku idha nyabam. I get reminded of this word, of this phrase, of this thing when I say audit. What is it? What will it be? True and fair. Okay. I'm writing T and F. Okay. Okay. Then, sorry, any other words? True and fair. Then, so, okay. Financial statements is there. Same way of saying financial information. I'll write in the bracket. So it's like financial statement, financial information, all that. Then, what else? Like, what do you think is an audit? Oh, okay. Well, let me change the question. In the question, give me an answer. Why? Sorry, reviewing. Who said reviewing? Reviewing. Okay, cool. So it's also reviewing. Okay, so this is one thing you guys are saying. It's another thing. It's another thing. It's another thing. And then one person saying reviewing. Okay. Okay. So we're writing reviewing. Okay. Then, why do we need auditing? Why auditing? Why should I get? Why should I get my books of accounts or financial information audited?
shareholders or other users.
Okay, great. So basically, can I say, it is to build the confidence or enhance the confidence of the users, right? Yeah. Okay, thanks, Ashin. So what about you guys? Anyone here? Okay, that's a good point, but I'll come to that. So a friend here says it's mandatory. I'd beg to differ. The point, it is mandatory, but not for all entities. It is mandatory for some entities and optional for some entities. We will talk about that also as we go into the topic. It's great. I'm happy that we have very interactive batch, so we're getting a lot of points. So yeah, then. So one person says mandatory. We'll talk about it. We'll say for now I'm not saying it's mandatory, but we'll go and touch upon that as well. Anything else? So what they said was it is basically for giving an assurance, right? Okay. So 6.1 assurance to shareholders. Okay. What is under? Sorry. Okay, so I'll do one thing. When you're saying assurance to shareholders, I'll add the government as a part of this, because instead of, I would not use the word shareholder, I'll use the word users. So let's go to accounting basics. Who are the users of financial statements? Internal user, external users. அதுக்கப்புறம் நீங்க சொல்லணும். Internal யாரு, external யாரு? Management. Internal. Let's talk about internal. Internal is management, shareholders. Internal. We still have one more internal. Internal. Employees, right? Employees the third one. Internal na, it's within the organization. So avangaloda employees, avangaloda management, avangaloda shareholders. Okay, that's like a triangle. Internal. External can be creditors, government, banks, general public, research, people who are doing research on the financial statements and of the companies, right? We have a large group. So I'll put assurance to shareholders plus government, yeah, plus users, other users. Other users. Okay, cool. Now this is done. So then again, next thing. So we've given all these words. Anything else that you guys think of? Continuous control. Okay, control. Who is controlling what? Can you be a little more elaborate? Okay, we're getting some interesting words. Okay, cool. I'll write them down. So one is, you're saying verification. It is in a way verification. Okay, so one is verification. One is control. What do you say again? Sorry, control, right? Continuous control. Okay, I'm writing continuous control. Okay, cool. So nice. Again, I guess you guys can teach me auditing. You guys know a lot already. Cool. So these are largely, some of the things that you guys have told, and it is largely relevant to your auditing as well. Okay. So before, again, one more question. How many of you have done auditing as a subject in your BCom or whatever? Please raise your hands. எல்லாருக்கும் வந்திருக்கும்ல பிகாம்ல சப்ஜெக்டா? பிகாம் நிறைய டைரக்ட் என்ட்ரி, நீங்க பிகாம் பண்ணீங்கன்னா கையை கீழே போடுறீங்க. நல்லா தூக்குங்க. So you guys have done BCom and this has come in BCom, right? Okay, don't worry, I won't ask you question. Don't worry at all. I'm here, not at all. Please, I swear I won't ask you questions. Just because, see, I will ask questions not because you're BCom, because you're my student. You're not going to ask. Okay, COVID batch. Okay, right, nice. Okay, fine. No, non-COVID batch anda kuda na solla podde vera. Okay, so I would like to say, whatever, with due respect to all the colleges, due respect to where we've learned things from, whatever we've learned by the name of auditing, whatever we wrote by filling pages, please leave it outside the doorstep when you come here. Okay, here in our institute, auditing is our prime thing, our core thing, right? So if you know the different professionals, out of that, CAs are meant to be for financial reporting and auditing. As taxation also, we're experts, but auditing is like our core, like our heartbeat. So we will be doing it very much in depth. There'll be a lot of technical terms, and this, I can rest assure you, that is not going to be in any way close to the auditing you studied in your college. Please forget it. So COVID, I'm very happy that, okay, COVID batch, so I know how it's done the things, right? So because, again, like I said, with due respect, it's okay that you know it, don't know it, fine. Whether you studied it for that or not, please don't study that for this. Don't say shortcut, na and book paathukuren adhe paathirukka maatom, that's secondary, but I'll go back to it. I will refer that for this. Please do not do all that. Stick to our materials, and more so the content and understanding here. If you already know it well through your college, I'm happy I can try and help teach you the little that I know to make your understanding better. But I don't want you to have any confusions or misunderstanding and mishaps between your auditing in college versus auditing in CA. Also, standing instruction, no filling pages here. You can finish, I mean, you can get your 3 marks out of 4 or 2.5 out of 4 by just writing one page. You can get 5 or 6 out by like 1.5, 2 pages enough. 20 pages lecture, I mean, what do you say, Tamil, say katture, right? 20 pages, you want to fill the page, you get 10 marks, 20 marks. That's not the case here, okay? So don't aim at filling pages. Technical terms and keywords are the most important things. And yes, I'm very happy that most of what you have given me out here are all already technical terms, okay? So that's great. Okay, so now let's go into the study mat, and now let's start with from the study mat. Okay, so the basic discussion is done. So we'll go to the study mat, read the definition of auditing, break it down into chunks, and understand it better. Okay, so any doubts until this is just discussion? Now I have not done anything. I've written on what you guys have told me. Anything? Do you have a doubt in this, or do you want to add anything in this? Unbiased. Okay, so what is unbiased here? Sorry. Okay, so can I say the opinion, like the opinion should be unbiased? Can we do that? Right. So the opinion should be unbiased. Okay, we can say that. Now, okay, let's go back to the study mat. Any doubts? All okay until this? Am I too fast, too slow? Okay, want me to slow down? You can be open. I'm honestly like எல்லாம் முடிச்சிட்டு ஒண்ணுமே புரியலடி அப்படியே அப்புறம் சொல்றதுக்கு புரியல இப்ப சொன்னீங்கன்னா இன்னொரு 1 hour இருக்கு நான் ஸ்லோ பண்ணிப்பேன். Okay, cool. If you guys feel I'm going a bit fast, I'll slow down. Okay, cool. So this is your first chapter. Okay, so nature and objective and scope of audit. Okay, before that, audit na enna adha ivla na பேசிட்டு இருந்தோம். We're going to also see it in the study mat on what you mean by auditing, and right. So this is just like a snapshot, I mean like a overview, bird's eye view that you have. So in this chapter or this thing, we'll be learning about your meaning, objectives, scope, aspects, advantage, limitation, types of audit, ethical requirements, quality control, relationship with other disciplines, blah, blah, blah. Okay, right? This is basically what you can read through, right? Now, here, let's start from the meaning and definition of audit, okay? So, okay, who's going to start off Mangalakarma for the batch? First person to read out. Any volunteers or I'll pick? Meaning
and definition of auditing is an independent examination of financial information of the whether profit oriented or not, and irrespective of the size or legal form, benefits and examination is conducted with a view to expressing and opinion thereon.
Super, right. So they themselves have broken down the definition and done an analysis. Okay, before that, this is a very beautiful technique that you have, like the way they've analyzed the definition or the way we are going to analyze it. It's a very nice method. Let's say, how many of you remember how you learned to pronounce English words when you were in your kindergarten or KG? How many of you remember? Exactly, syllables. Do you remember the syllables? No word irukku theriyuma. நம்ம வேர்ட்ஸ் எல்லாம் சிலபல்ஸ்ன்ற வேர்டை யூஸ் பண்ணி தான் படிச்சோம் தெரியுமா, அந்த கான்செப்ட் யூஸ் பண்ணி, ரைட்? ஸோ வென் யூ வாண்ட் டு சே சம்திங், யூ பிரேக் தெம் டவுன் இன் டு chunks or small pieces, and then you can understand it better. It's the same for anything. You can't eat an entire, I don't know, let's say a bucket biryani like that itself, or an entire slice of chunk of pizza. You stuff in your mouth, you're not going to enjoy it as much. You're going to have to bite and chew it, and only then you can process it better, and it's good for the digestive system as well. Same way for your brain also. You read, Chitti Robo, none of us are Chitti Robo, right? So none of us going to understand everything in the first go. It's going to take you time to be able to process the things, right? So best technique for any theory paper, I'm not talking about auditing, any theory paper, anything for you to understand, break it down into syllables. It helps you to remember also better, and it helps you to understand better. Or I'll put it the other way, it helps you understand better. Therefore, your memory to retain it, the retention gets enhanced, right? Clear? So, like we used to break the words into syllables, we're going to break the definition into parts, which they've already done, which I also try doing here. So, first we're talking about what? We're talking about audit, okay? It is an independent examination of which I'd like to make sure that if you have your study mat, please take it out and do what I'm doing here, because you can underline it. If you don't have it, please at least take down a notes, like this is the important keyword, the word here, okay? Whatever are the keywords, only they are going to fetch you marks, okay? One more myth I'd like to break. So there are 2-3 myths, right? Our first myth was what? It is a theory paper. Abdiya, illa. It is very much practical. We are going to apply it in your articleship also and in real life. Second, very tough to score marks. I explained the paper pattern and told you it's not that tough and all. It's very much easy. You can manage to score, right? 40 is not at all difficult. 50 to 60, put in a little more hard works, becomes manageable, right? Next, third myth, right? Here, own words you cannot write in your own words. You can have to write only the same technical terms, reproduce it, mug it and vomit it. I don't know. I would really beg to differ from that, because for myself, the technique of mugging things and reproducing does not work. You must have seen, right? For the amount of things I talk, I cannot like mug and reproduce. I don't like kind of mug and reproduce. Okay. So it never worked for me. If it works for you, great, well and good. But still make sure you understand what you're mugging up. Don't mug it up for the heck of it, please. Then for those like me who can't mug up the things, right? Then in that case, understanding the keywords is of vital importance, because இதுதான் keyword அப்படின்னு எனக்கு தெரியும் அப்படின்னா எக்ஸாம்ல நான் பேப்பர்ல எழுதும்போது என்ன இருக்கோ இல்லையோ இது இருக்கணும். I should make sure these words, the keywords are there in my answer sheet. Plus or minus, I can do this, that, it, on, at, among, preposition, verbs, the adjectives, all that you can put and make it look colorful like a sentence. Make sure your basic thing is to fill up with the keywords. Also, going forward, I will discuss presentation preparation tips as well whenever you have free time. So one of it that I'll be telling you is, if you have time in exam, as and when you write with a pencil, time illa pencil illa veru oru pen madana adutha exam poiduven sir apna adhe vechi kuda underline the keywords at least. Okay, please, because that will be of really of great help and use to the examiner to know that you know the content. The moment he says independent, or if it's going to be me who's going to correct the papers, or when I write my exam also, I make sure these are there in the period definition la எது இருக்கோ இல்லையோ இந்த வேர்ட்ஸ் வேணும் அப்படின்றத I'm going to highlight right now. Please highlight in your study mat also. If you don't have, please take down notes and write down this word is important, etc. Okay, so let's start. Audit is an independent examination of what? Of financial information, right? Of any entity. So here I'd like to emphasize the word any entity. So when you say any entity, what are the different types of entities? You can be a little louder. Sole proprietorship, partnership, companies, LLPs, trusts, NPOs, trusts, all right? So societies, yes, societies, right? So yeah, all these are like broadly the kind of thing. Also there are governmental organizations, PSUs, public sector undertakings, right? And then a branch of the government departments and all that, right? Okay, so now when I say any entity, it means it covers anything and everything. But ninga sonna mari, whether it is mandatory or not, now we will see after a few pages. I mean, maybe not today, in next class or something. So whether it's mandatory or not is a separate discussion, but on the face of it, when you are defining auditing, it is applicable to all entities. See, when you say it is an independent examination of financial information of any entity, it means to say you can do that for anything, but whether to do or not is your choice, right? That's what it is. That's how it means, right? Okay, any entity. So they're saying whether profit oriented or not, that's okay. So profit oriented or not, that's fine, irrespective of the size or the legal form. So we're talking about the profit orientation, size, legal form. So when you take profit, two types: profit, non-profit. NPOs are trusts, societies, etc. Profit oriented business like company, LLP, whatever. Next thing, size. What are the different sizes? Small, medium, large. There's no XL, double XL and all. Okay, it's just small, medium, large. We're only talking about companies, right? So there is only the small, medium, and large. There's SMEs, which is small, medium enterprises. Then your large entities, bigger enterprises. And all. Legal form. What are the different types of legal forms? என்ன சொன்னீங்க? பாதி கேட்டுச்சு, சத்தமா சொல்லுங்க. என்னாச்சு? Right, registered. I'm just looking for the word. Cool, that's fine. So the word registered, right? So legal form. So company, can you define a company as per company law? Everyone knows company law, right? Everyone, I mean, other than those. Artificial person, yeah, right, okay, right. Separate legal entity. Do we know the word? Separate legal entity, common seal, perpetual succession. For men may come and men may go. The company goes on forever. Right? Super. Cool. So that's what we're talking about, right? So that's the thing here. Legal form here means the legality of the entity. So whether you're registered or not, whether you're like governed by an act or not. So companies, LLPs are all having their LLP Act 2008, Companies Act 2013, and then their mandatory registration, all that happens, right? So that is the legal form. Then when such an examination is conducted with the view to what is the reason why you conduct, what is audit? Idu varaikum paastom, right? What is audit inga varaikum? And why audit is the remaining, right? Why audit? Then when such an examination conducted with a view to express an opinion thereon. Okay, so in my view, independent examination, financial information, expressing opinion. Okay, this is the meaning of audit. Okay, that's what they've also broken down. Here also they think independent. Each, if you see in the points below here, each of the thing is given. Sorry, yeah. So independent is there. Then profit orientation, you're talking about the thing, and expressing opinion. Okay. So is this clear? Are we understanding the definition? Okay, super. Now, let's get into the sub definitions or the words beneath each of this. Okay, so again, let me go back to this and any idea on how I scroll up? Okay, I need another page, so I'll add another page. Cool. Okay, so now we're going to go about for each of the words. Okay, so I'm going to first start with the word independent. Okay, yeah. Okay, so when we say independent, what is the meaning of independent? Sorry? Not influenced by anybody. Okay. Sorry, not dependent. I'll ஆரம்பிக்கலாம். Independent, not dependent. அப்படிதான் ஆரம்பிக்கணும். எடுத்தோடனே நீங்க டெக்னிக்கலா சொல்றீங்க, குட் திங், பட் சாரி. Okay, fine. Cool. Right. Pretty much. Okay, so அவர் ஏதோ சொன்னார்ல, சிரிச்சவளா நான் சொன்னீங்க, எல்லாரும் தான் சொன்னீங்களா? Okay, give it a try. Okay, so independent basically is not dependent. That's the first thing, right? Not being influenced by somebody and being free from something. That's very much, we were free from British Raj, right? So that's pretty much what independence is, right? No, வேறதோ சொல்லிட்ட மாதிரி ஓரளவு சம்பந்தமா தான் சொன்னாரு. Anyways, what about others? Anything else?
Like this, like a third party who does not like a mediator.
Why mediator again? Sorry, I don't understand. Why mediator?
Like between the users and the management.
Okay. Okay. So can I rephrase your thing like this? Can I say that person who we're talking about, which is the auditor, is neither a part of the users nor is a part of the management? So this independent. Perfect. Cool. So independent. So he's one step away. He's neither the user nor the management. He's like a middleman or the mid ground. Okay, that's cool. Anything else? Out of the box. Yeah. So not in connection with the present happenings. He's not. இதுக்கு சம்பந்தமே இல்ல, right? இங்க யாரா இருக்கீங்களா? அப்படி கிளாஸ் மாதிரி நடக்குது, நான் பாட்டு கேட்கேன். Anybody? I hope there's no one out of the box for that. Okay. Then anything else? Not in relation to. Okay, anyways. So when you say independent, the word independent, with respect to decision, what will you say? So okay, I'll ask you a question. So can you all go out whenever you want and come back whenever you want to your house? I mean, how many of you can do that? I mean, it's a great boon if you can, but how many of you can? எப்போ நினச்சா போவேன் சார், நினச்சா வீட்டுக்கு போவேன், நினச்சா வீட்டோட வருவேன். I mean, like I can go in at any time, come back at any time. என்ன கேள்வி வரும்? இதெல்லாம் வீடா லாட்ஜான்பாங்க, வீட்லேயே கேட்பாங்க. ஹோட்டலா உனக்கு சாப்பிட்டு தூங்க மட்டும் தான் வருவியான்பாங்க இல்லையா? So you have some kind of restrictions, right? So your decision to go out or not, or to eat at a particular time, இந்த டைம்குள்ள தான் சோறு இல்லைன்னா கிடையாதுன்பாங்க. So right? So maybe you don't have independence. Okay, then let's talk about choosing your classes. Like I'm pretty sure you guys chose this class, so your parents would have helped you, but didn't you make your choice ultimately? Because you guys know more about this thing than your parents, so you would have discussed with your parents, discussed with your friends, seen a lot of things on the internet and things, and then done your own base prep research and took the decision, right? Isn't this an independent decision to join this place? At least சரி, அதெல்லாம் ஒரு பேசிக் கொஸ்டின். எத்தனை பேர் இண்டிபெண்டா சுயமா முடிவு பண்ணி சிஏ சேர்ந்தீங்க எல்லாம்? Okay, that's great. I mean, that's a largely good response. Great thing. So that was your independent decision, right? So when you talk about independence with respect to decision making, it means a decision I can take with free will by myself. I can take it. Nobody can influence me. Nobody can exert any kind of pressure on me. Nobody can ask me to do something. Okay, I am doing it by myself. I want to do this, so I'm doing it, right? So that is what you mean by independent when it comes to taking a decision. Here, in this context of auditing, when we say independence, we are more inclined towards the out-of-box definition or the third-person definition. That is, a person who is independent, unbiased opinion we just saw some time back, right? So I am not in the picture, so I'm not going to favor the management also. I'm not going to favor anything the users also. I am a third party. I am an independent person, and I make my decision from my free mind. Okay. So let me ask you a question. Let's say your father runs a company, medium size, large size, whatever. Okay, runs a company. you become a chartered accountant tomorrow. So your dad is then running a company business and you become a chartered accountant tomorrow. So if he asks you, சரி இவ்வளோ கஷ்டப்பட்டு படிக்க வச்சேன் சிஏ ஆகிட்டல நீ ஏன் ஆடிட் பண்ணினேன், ஆடிட்டர் செலவு மிச்சம்ன்றாரு. சரியா, படிச்சதா செலவு பண்ணியாச்சு, ஸோ யூ டு த ஆடிட் யுவர் செல்ஃப். ஸோ how independent do you think you will be when you do the audit for your dad's company? Okay, so I'm saying, let's say your dad is in a business, he's running a business, for example, and you have cleared a chartered accountancy exam. You become a chartered accountant, you're a qualified CA. Your dad says, why not you do the audit for our business yourself? You're not going to employ an external auditor. Instead, every company needs to get itself audited, right? So your dad who's running a business, a company, needs to get that books of accounts audited. They're asking you. So do you think you can do it in an independent fashion? Yes. Exactly. That's what I'm getting to. I'm heading towards that. So the fact that, yeah, that is the technical parlance, but I won't go there. I want to first understand from you. Let's leave law, everything I said. Let's forget Companies Act for something. Okay, anyways. So when I'm just asking you, do you think you can be independent? Again, I'm not saying your dad might not be having a commerce background, CA background, so he's not going to say, do audit like this, do audit like that. So he's not going to hold your hands and do the thing. But do you think you can, if, for example, I'm running a company, you don't know me, at least you didn't until the past 1 hour ago, you didn't know me, I was a stranger to you. So your dad runs a company, I run a company. You doing audit for mother's company versus you doing audit for your dad's company. Will there be a difference or not? Yes. What will be the difference? Yeah, so there is some problem or lapse. Others online can also answer. I think Harshan is the one answering most of the things. You guys can unmute and answer if you have anything to say, right? Okay. So what was I saying? Yeah. So there will be a difference. What will be the difference? Okay. Bias. So even if you don't want to, okay, let's say you're very honest. You're very honest. You're not biased at all. You're doing the Pakka audit. In fact, you're doing a more stringent, more stricter audit than what you would do for a stranger. Even then, 1 minute, உங்க பக்கத்துல உட்கார்ந்து சிரிக்கிறாங்களா, அவங்க என்ன சொல்றாங்க, அப்பாவோட தண்டனை அவன் எப்படி பண்ணிருப்பா நமக்கு தெரியாதா சொல்லுவாங்களா? Like, will they not say that it's only your father's, I mean your dad's, so I'm pretty sure you have not done it in an honest manner, or maybe you have, but he's still your father, no, right? Don't you think that that one extra point be there from outsiders, right? So whenever you talk of independent, the word independent or the term independence, it needs to be independence both in the mind. Yes, both appearance and the mind. Okay, so we're talking about both the mind and appearance. Okay. Okay, so independence in mind and appearance. So the first thing, independence in mind, is when your mind has a very calm and relaxed stature wherein you can do the audit at your convenience. That is, you are doing it the way you will do it for anybody and everybody. Tom, Dick and Harry, no difference. I will do the same way. Usually audit na ipdidan pannanom, I have something in my mind, same way I'll carry out the audit. I will not do anything different for this person. So unbiased, clear, objective, unambiguous, I'm being very proper in my audit. Then that is the independence in mind. That is, my mind knows, I know I'm doing it perfectly, right? If that itself is missing, like the first case, I feel I'll be biased to my dad and all that, then there is a problem there itself. It becomes a problem here itself. So independence must be there in the mind. Also in appearance, because the one who's right next to you or the people you know should not think that you were biased because the person is your relative. Father, mother, brother, sister, whatever, right? So independence in mind and appearance, both are necessary. And so basically it's not or, it is and. Okay. So it is basically independent in mind and appearance and not or appearance, right? So are we clear with this first? So I'm going very slowly, guys. Number first page or first line tandala, okay? So if you still don't understand, want me to repeat or go slower, I still can, because I want you guys to understand. That's the thing. Everyone understood, right? All good? Everybody? Fine. Now, this is the first word that we wanted to see, independent. There is a technical definition for all of this, which we will see in our study mat also. If you want to, you can also go to the auditing pronouncements book and see something called as glossary. Okay, when you don't know an English word, we'll go to dictionary. Same way, glossary is almost like a dictionary. And here, when we say glossary, all these words are very much English words that you already know. Like we said, independent, that is being free from something or someone. But in audit, what does it mean? For that, you need to go to the glossary, right? So more assurance, the word assurance can mean a guarantee, like we just spoke sometime 1 hour ago. But in audit, what is assurance? right? So that is the way in which we need to analyze. So it is not enough if you know English. So that's another, okay, fourth misconception. Yeah, English la செம்மையா வரும், ஆடிட்லாம் 100 தான், 100 கொடுக்க மாட்டான். But still, they'll be thinking the person knows English very well or has a good fluency in the language of English, so they can score very well in the auditing paper. Again, another myth to be busted and broken. It's not the case. You write whatever you want in very flowery language, Shakespeare English also, unless you have these keywords, zero only. Okay, it's not going to be anything more than a zero. So first keyword done, independence. So what is the other thing I underline? First thing, independent examination. Examination நமக்கு தெரியும் என்ன மீனிங், நம்ம எழுத போறது இல்ல. What are we going to do? So examining, checking, verifying, analyzing, examining, right? And one more thing, when you talk about audit, the moment you say audit, most of the times the words very frequently that will be coming up will be audit. Synonymous will be verify, check, test, analyze, right? Anything more? Somebody is saying inspect, examine, right? Vouch, verify. These are all going to be very common terms that are going to keep coming recurringly, repeatedly in the future. Okay, so independent examination. Now you guys either looking at your notes or study mat, tell me what is the next word that was underlined. Okay, so are we saying financial statements or are we saying financial information? Information, okay, which means financial statement is a part of financial information. Sorry, what is financial statement? Let's come from that. Okay, 1 minute. Yeah, one minute. Financial statements. Okay, so from that, first thing, trading. Okay, P&L, balance sheet, cash flow statement. Is that it or something more? Notes. So basically, summary of accounting policies. Can I call it that way? The technical way. Summary of accounting policies or notes to accounts. It was simpler. Notes. We will write notes. Okay. So we have notes to accounts. Correct? So this in total makes your balance sheet. Correct? Sorry, I mean makes your financial statements. Sorry. Right. So and this financial statement is a part of your financial information because the company, if you see companies publishing annual reports, it will come in a big booklets. It will come in a bigger booklet than your study mat. It comes that big book. So there it has director's report. It will have financial statements. It will have auditor's report. It will have everything. Right. So as a part of that, financial statement is one part. Other financial information, ratio analysis, costing, or I mean in general you must know concept, right? 12th, 11th, 12th, current ratio, debt equity ratio, liquidity ratio, right? So basically, current ratio, all that, fine. So all these ratios you already know, right? So all of these are a part of your financial information. So your financial information has financial statements and other info. Okay, what are the other financial information? Other financial information. Okay. Right. Okay, that's info, guys. Okay. This diagram right again, maybe. Info. Cool. Right. So that has your financial statement and your other financial information. Cool. Now, when we say financial statements, you started from trading, all that is fine. So, what is do we straight away start preparing a trading account or what is happening before that? Financial statement, these are financial statements, no doubt. I agree. How do you prepare financial statements? Start from the first and we'll go one by one. What is the base? Voucher. Okay, let's start this way. Voucher. So voucher is a supporting document or a supplementary document based on which what will I do? You will post into day book, but what do you post? What is it? Journal. So journal entry, right? JV, journal voucher. We call it JV. Some people call it journal voucher. JVs or journal entries, JEs. So a journal is being posted. So first I post a journal, right? Then from the journal, it goes into where? Ledgers. From the ledger, it goes into, okay, some people have subsidiary books. Omit sir. Okay, foundation. Anyways, subsidiary books, your purchase book, sales book, this book, that book. But okay, I mean, like for us to prepare. But anyway, so you go there and then goes to the trial balance. And should the trial balance tally? It should, right? Yeah, cool. And if a trial balance tallies, does it mean it's correct? No. A trial balance only for an arithmetical accuracy. So any kind of compensating error or other kind of errors, omissions will not be detected through the trial balance. So that's it. Then from your TV, you go trading P&L balance sheet. Other adjustments கொடுத்துப்பாங்க sir. Question answer la. Okay. Real life la நடக்கும். நிஜமா நடக்கும். நடக்கிறது adjustment அவங்க போடுவாங்க. Okay. Right. So that's the way in which you progress into the financial information. So these are your financial information. So I am going to audit this, right? So audit is an independent examination, independence of mind and appearance. Then of financial information. Then what's coming next? What is the next word? Any entity, any audit we discuss panto. Profit, non-profit, legal, any legal form, size, small, medium, large, SME. Next one. Sorry, expressing an opinion. Okay, fine, cool. We go to the opinion part, right? So next, the third thing here is an opinion. Okay, so when we say opinion, what is the meaning of the word opinion? English normal opinion. Expressing the view. Okay. Suggestion is not exactly an opinion, at least not in this context. Any other word? View is okay. Sorry, commenting, kind of advising, judgment, remark. Okay, let me ask you. I think view is the most befitting word. Okay, let's say you finished watching, let's say any movie, Ponniyin Selvan, whatever, like any movie that you guys went to watch. So what's your take on it? What's your opinion on it? Okay, Paula. Like when you generally ask someone, you don't ask, okay, you ask what's your comment. Don't say what's your judgment on it, right? You don't judge, you're not blue satay to judge movies and give reviews on YouTube, right? Which is your opinion. So basically when you say opinion, generally it is a view, someone's view. So my opinion can be different from her opinion, can be different from his opinion, can be different from their opinion, right? That's just that way. But here, largely, when it comes to doing an audit, it can't be that one auditor does one thing and there's one opinion, the other auditor does something, there's another opinion, right? So there'll not be any standardization or lack of standard. This is one main reason why essays come into picture, right? Because now we have standards in auditing. So it's not like I will do it the way I like, the other person does the way they like. We can't do it that way. Everyone has to be uniform, in line with each other, aligned and all that, right? So only then we can say the thing is correct. So we are going to express an opinion here. So what are we expressing an opinion on? What are we expressing an opinion on? On financial information, right? So audit is an independent examination of financial information for what or why? For expressing opinion on financial information. So off financial, on financial. This sentence is definition. So basically, you have independent examination of financial statements and it's for expressing an opinion. We know that much. An opinion, basically, what is the opinion I'm planning to express or what do I want to express? So I'm going to say the financial information or the financial statements, information, everything gives me a true and fair view. True or false, the true and fair, okay? True and fair view. Okay, so I'm making sure giving me a true and fair view. TNF. So this is like the basics of basic thing. Okay. Now, when can I say something or financial statement gives me a true and fair view? True true na fair na T na F na true na. Sorry, you can be louder. What is it? Unmai. Correct na ya? Unmai da ya? True na unmai da. Okay, so true is unmai, or like what is correct, what is the right thing, what is the original thing, truth, right? What is fair? This is not not that fair, off sale podranga and the big bazaar not that fair, not trade fair. It's just the nyayama fair, just being just, proper, just sorry, something. Yeah, as far as what it's true and fair. So yeah, that is what we're trying to say here. So true is original, correct, unmai, authentic, all that. Fair is when it's going to be nyayama and all that. So when can we say a financial statement is true and fair? Okay, one. Okay, that's like my independent definition. Not dependent is independent. Fine. Same way. Once audited is this thing, so now okay. Apo, let me ask you this way. What do you do in an audit to say that it's true and fair? Ada padika pora sir. Yes. Yeah, great. Okay, so one main criteria will be proper accounting. So what is proper accounting?
Like whether they keep the boxes correctly and they record after the boxes.
Okay, so first and foremost thing is you will have to basically check if the things are in line with the basic books, like subsidiary books or vouchers or base documents, right? So like supporting document. That's why I said everything flows from, we have to go backwards. So only when something flows from your journal, your voucher to journal to ledger to subsidiary books to then TB, then trading, P&L, balance sheet, cash flow, and your notes, just in case, right? So basically, I can say something is true and fair or something is proper only and only when I do something like this, like only when I say that, it's agreeing to the like your financial statements agrees to the underlying books of accounts. Do you agree? Books of accounts. Okay. So FS means this. Okay. Right. Then when you say books of accounts, what is books of accounts? Then that will be your vouchers. Okay. Supporting docs. Okay. Supporting documents. Then let's say your, all the other things that you do, bills. Yeah. Bills. Okay. Invoices, vouchers, all that. Right. So all these are your base document, and based on this you're doing journal, ledger, and then your subsidiary books. So these are your books of accounts, right? So your subsidiary books. Okay, all this comprise or TB also. All of this is your books of accounts. So you have your books of accounts, right? And then you build on the financial statement. So the financial statement should agree with the books of accounts. Do you agree with me in this? Correct? Right. Similarly, accounting standards must be followed. Correct? Accounting standards must be followed. Appada correctness solla mudiyum, right? Okay. So now let's go back to the study material. Okay, so now we are gradually moving on to the other parts. Okay, so yeah, so we're down to the definition. Now this is the thing, the person conducting this task should take this task. Now what is this task? Auditing. Yeah, so here when you say when you say yeah, okay, so when you say this task here, it means audit. Oops, 1 second. Okay. Yeah, so it means audit. Okay, so we're talking about audit. So this task here refers to audit. Okay, so can someone quickly read? Okay, let's start from you. First point. Be loud, be loud. Yeah, this can, so he can do honestly by satisfying himself that. So what needs, these are the points you're going to see now are the points that one must satisfy himself while carrying out an audit. So if these points are present, then book the accounts are correct. Audit nalla pochu. Audit is correct. Abdine sollana. What are the basic points? Very general. This can be a separate question. Your definition can be a separate question. So we'll gradually move into the question answers and all. But for now, let's understand them as concepts. Please read.
The person conducting this task should take care to ensure that the financial statements would not mislead anybody. This he can do honestly by satisfying himself that the first point is the accounts have been drawn up with reference to entries in the books of accounts.
Okay, we'll stop there. Let's go one by one. Okay, so we are going to talk about the accounts being drawn up with reference to the entries in the books of accounts. We just now said books of accounts now, TB, ledger, journal, all the subsidiary books, all that. Then accounts here, they mean the financial statements. Okay, and here books of accounts mean the books of accounts, BOA. Okay, now they have been drawn up with reference to the entries. So what does this mean here? Let me take an example. So let's say in your journal, ledger, whatever, there's one particular ledger that says, let's say, bank loan or loan from bank, right? It's a asset or liability. Liabilities, debit or credit balance. Closing credit balance, right? So let's say you have 1 lakh of liability in the ledger. It's also a part of the trial balance. Ultimately, it should have been a part of your financial statement also, right? Correct? So we are given the financial to audit. See, always audit is nothing but like a post-mortem. Okay, because we are doing audit for historical financial information, right? So this is nothing that's happening today. There are different types of audit. There's something called as the concurrent audit, wherein the audit happens parallelly along with the accounting. That is different. We'll go over it later. But generally, audit na accounts panniyachu. They're given you the accounts. You are doing a post-mortem of it. That is, you are now checking whether it was done correctly. It is over, correct? Accounts are done. They're done. You are going to give some audit adjustment, then they'll do it later. That's fine. So it is like a post-mortem of what has already happened, right? So here we are trying to say that you are giving a reference to the entry. So there's a loan, one ledger says loan. I am given the balance sheet. Balance sheet, there's no loan at all. So I'm doing the audit, everything seems fine, all that. But only when I go back and trace the entries back, I can see there is the ledger with a closing balance of 1 lakh for the loan. Let's say it didn't even come in the TB, omission error. Adi omit pantanga to the extent cash or bank, whatever they omitted, 1 lakh minus. So TB tallied, all good, looks fine, super fine. But then, have they done it correctly? There's something missing. I will not know that until I go back and backtrack, correct? When I see the balance sheet, TB will tally, balance sheet will tally, everything will be beautiful. But unless I go back and see, I will not know that there's a difference, correct? Am I right? Okay. So then, is there so that's why we're trying to say, so there should not be a possibility wherein something that has been done in the books of accounts is not there in the FS. Okay. So your FS or accounts are drawn up. Not the drawing, it's drawn up, it's made up, or they're created, they're built up based on the entries or with reference to the entries, with respect to the entries posted or passed in the books of accounts. Clear? So there is not a so this is first possibility. Second way, let's go the other way around. Please, can you read the next point?
In the book of accounts are adequately supported by sufficient and appropriate evidence.
Okay, right. So the entries in the books of accounts are adequately supported by sufficient appropriate evidence. Now, let's come to this. It's the other way around. Sorry, if first என்ன சொன்னோம் we have an account called bank loan in ledger, that is books of accounts. Okay, let me do this way, maybe you can understand better. Okay, so we have two things, right? So first we have your books of accounts, first thing, then there is your FS, correct? So the first scenario, the first point that we've been seeing here is that, let's say there is the bank loan. Okay, just a second. Okay, cool. I'll just go here. Okay, there is books of accounts. Striking off here. So it's there in the books of accounts, not there in the FS. This is the first scenario. Anyone having any doubt in this? It should not be like this. So ultimately, when you're auditing, if something is like this, it should strike you that it can't be the case. When something is there here, it should be here also. Correct? Now the second scenario. Okay, let's take the second situation. Okay, wherein, let's say anything else. Let's say any other example. Okay, let's take land. Okay, let's say I'm having a land. Okay, it is there in the financial statements, but it's not there in the books of accounts. Is there a possibility like that? Okay, I don't know, it's a bit of an old joke. How many have you seen that Vadivelu joke? This says, Kanatha Kanum, சொல்லிட்டு. தெரியுமா? Kanatha Kanum, right? So basically, I mean, it's like a small movie reference. So basically, like that, in the books of accounts, you're showing 5 crores worth of land. Okay, you're saying 5 crore worth of land. I have 1 crore worth of land here, 1 near Punamalli, 1 near, I don't know, let's say it's one in Kanchipuram, 1 in here, there, 1 in Hyderabad, blah, blah, blah. So the company establishes or tries to prove the fact that it has 5 crore worth of land. It says so in the balance sheet. Okay, thoroughly comes the balance sheet. But there is no underlying supporting document, or there's no actual land. There is no land document. There's no such document. Land sir. Leave alone the document. There is no land at all. Then when we say, where is the land, boss? Come on, show me. They don't have a land, so they can't show. They go and then they say, oh, there is no land, right? So how will you know the authenticity or veracity of what is being told in the FS? So this is the other. You understand the opposite. First point, it was there but not here. In this point, it is here in the FS but not there in the BOA, books of accounts, right? So when there's no supporting at all, then isn't it, I mean, people do frauds. There are a lot of frauds and errors that happen this way, okay? So then, unless I carry out something called as a physical verification, it's a big, one of the main process of audit. Physical verification, what does it mean? Stock audit, no solvanga. Stock audit, yes. Yes, you have to go in person. Yes. But please, you can sit down also, no problem. Right. So you go, so basically that we call it for inventory, like you say stock of, goods, right? Inventory, closing stock, stock audit and so on. We can do it for land as well. Yeah, we don't call it a stock audit. I'm saying the word physical verification. Yes. So one way of doing, see, we're going to learn about all this in detail later, but basically, Nach, what is the topic going on there? Same thing, different thing? Huh? Sorry? Stock audit anubhavangala. Anyone who has already done doing stock audit? Yeah, but no, what was the thing going on there? Anything interesting? Then okay, cool. Interesting. Okay, anyways. So stock audit for inventory, same way you do this kind of physical verification and you can go and check if there's land or not, right? So unless you go and do a physical verification, you will not know if there is a land actually existing there or not, right? So this is the second scenario. Do you understand the second point also? First one, accounts, that is FS, drawn up with the reference to entries made in BOA. Check panno. Second, we need to see whether the things that are present in the FS have a corresponding supporting evidence. Now we're going to go to another keyword. Okay, before we go to the third point, I want to emphasize on this. Okay, this is like the most important word. Okay, please mark it in a study mat, or we're going to call it SAAE, sufficient appropriate audit evidence. SAAE, sufficient appropriate audit evidence. Okay, so we'll call it SAAE. Oh, audit, okay, but we'll be doing about the sufficient appropriate audit evidence. Okay, so here we're talking about evidence, but this is a very common phrase. We're going to talk about SAAE. A and sir, audit sir, and audit okay. So for now, it's sufficient appropriate audit evidence. They call it SAAE, very common use abbreviation. Okay, we'll first understand that and then move on to the third point. Okay, so I'll just add another page and write this. So very important, SAAE. Okay, so one is sufficient. Okay, sufficient. Yes, and and appropriate Yeah, audit evidence, that's good. Okay, cool. Right. Again, like we just said, there was an and not or that we just now saw, right? Same way, I like to say that here it is an and not or. Very, very, very important for you to remember this. What is it and not or? Apna? Here, anytime when you talk about audit, anywhere when you talk about evidence, because as auditors, we want to verify, we want to check, we want to do this, we want to do that, etc. etc. என்ன பண்ணீங்கனாலும் whatever you do, ultimately your aim is to do what? The last word of definition என்னது? Express an opinion. So இவ்வளவு நான் எதுக்கு பண்றேன்? To express an opinion. நீங்க இவ்வளவு எதுக்கு கிளாஸ்லாம் வந்து காலையில எந்திரிச்சு படிச்சு கஷ்டப்பட்டு எதுக்கு பண்றோம்? To become a chartered accountant. So the ultimate goal is to express an opinion, right? So I'm doing all of this just to express an opinion. But how do I do it without a supporting, like without a backing up? Already the users are going to have that, they are going to rely on my work, right? All the financial statement users, internal, external, everybody are going to depend on me, are going to rely on me, are going to believe my work because they are a chartered accountant. Because not just because you're a CA, but because they know CA avana avanukku tax theriyum, GST theriyum, avanukku audit theriyum, they will know, you know, they think we know all of this, and that's why they depend on us. Okay, that's the thing. So அதனால கொஞ்சம் ஒழுங்கா படிச்சுக்கோங்க, தூங்காம மானத்தை காப்பாற்றலாம் அப்பதான், ரைட்? So the external and internal users think that we as auditors or chartered accountants know everything. Exactly, that's what I'm trying to say. The people are relying on you thinking, I mean, they are supposed to know, they do know, but as a matter of fact, we need to. But I'm just saying, just in case, you know, like a joke, in case people don't, it's like they do clear and go, but they need, you know, they didn't know this. No. It does happens in the real life. You know, when you say some people are maybe not subject matter experts, but they're able to scrape through, they clear. But then, of course, they're supposed to equip themselves with the best of knowledge, but that's just what happens. Anyways, so coming back, here we're saying it's and not or, right? Because let's focus on that. So sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. So any audit evidence, I'm getting something called as evidence. I need to back my opinion or conclusion with an evidence. So already they don't believe the management, they're believing me. They believe that any financial statements or accounts that are audited has more value and is believed to be, they're more confident about these audited accounts. Audited accounts versus unaudited accounts. Audited accounts has an upper hand already. Then in that situation, what happens is, in our case, like for example, when we want to say something is there, I am saying they're already believing me, then I need to make sure that I believe myself. I'm giving an opinion. I can't just sleep today and wake up tomorrow and say, oh, okay, true and fair. No, it's not true and fair. I don't like the name of the company. It's not true and fair. I don't think I can do that, right? I have to have basic backup document and backings. If I don't, ICA will also question me. They will also question me. And it's professionally not very ethical to do that, right? So whatever work I do, I will always perfectly document it. It's all about documentation and collection of audit evidence. Evidence for the purpose of audit is called audit evidence. It needs to be both sufficient and appropriate, not or. Sufficient, it's only sufficient but not appropriate, or with appropriate but not sufficient. It is not the case. It has to be both sufficient and appropriate. Now, you guys talk. What is sufficient? English word sufficient and a meaning. You can say in Tamil or English. போதுமானது. Tamil பழமொழி போதும் என்ற மனமே பொன் செய்யும் மருந்து. Okay, so you feel enough, satisfied, satiated, sufficient, anything, any other word, I mean anything for sufficient. Any other thing. Sufficient means it's just enough or it's good enough. Okay. Sorry? Fulfilling. Okay. Okay, so sampling is a altogether different topic or a different essay. I get the point. Okay, fine. So, okay, I'll take one part from what you said. So, what did you say for sufficient? The amount of things you take, in amount. So, any other different word for that? Satisfiable. Fine. Any other different term or any?
Quantity.
Quantity. Who said quantity? Hashin. Great. Super. Quantity is the word I was going for. Okay, that's the perfect word. So, sufficiency or sufficient here means quantity. Okay. On the other hand, appropriateness means what? Quality. Quantity na quality. Correct. That's the right. So, sufficiency is quantity. Appropriateness is quality. Okay. Now, I hope you heard the phrase two sides of the same coin, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, quantity and quality are like, okay, how many of you are from CBSE? background, like 11, 12 and all that. Okay, even state board, I'm pretty sure it was saying the word commerce or business studies. The efficiency, effectiveness, two sides of the same coin, right? One cannot be compromised at the cost of the other. Efficiency means completing the work at a much, sooner, faster way, and in a much more productive manner. Effectiveness is completing it on time. Commerce, business studies, whatever is the subject name, right? So same way here, sufficiency and appropriateness are like two sides of the same coin. Like you flip it, it's like the same thing. Okay, head to tail, two sides of the same coin. They're supposed to be treated equally. I'm trying to say that. Exactly. You can, or I'll put it the other way. I'll rephrase it. I cannot justify by projecting one and saying I don't have the other. Boss, I have sufficiency. I've taken 10,000 audit evidence for a 10 lakh turnover company, which is such a small, in comparison to crores, 10 lakhs is smaller. So I've taken 10,000 audit evidence for this company. So I've been very sufficient, more than sufficient. So I don't think the quality of it matters. No, I can't say that. Same way, very, very qualitative. ஒரே ஒரு எவிடன்ஸ் எடுத்து ஒரு வருஷமா அனலைஸ் பண்ணேன் சார். ரொம்ப குவாலிட்டி, அது நல்ல கரெக்டா தரமான எவிடன்ஸ்னா அதுவும் செல்லாது, ரைட்? So you cannot tell me that you are compromising one at the cost of the other, right? So quantity and quality both go hand in hand, and they're like the two sides of the same coin, which means I cannot compromise on one thing just in order to establish another thing or something, right? So quality without quantity is also not appropriate, not correct. Similarly, quality without quantity also is not correct. So whenever, so this is like, these are some phrases you can just, you don't have to by heart also. In audit class, தூங்கினா கூட பரவாயில்ல, காதுல எப்படி கேட்கும். Okay, even if you're going to sleep, you'll still be able to hear it so many times that you'll automatically have this nailed in your head. Okay, sufficient, appropriate audit evidence. And okay, see here, in your study material, sufficient and appropriate evidence is there. Audit word illa. Generally, we say SAAE, sufficient, appropriate, audit evidence. Can you please repeat it 3 times? Please repeat. Okay, great. So now let's go to the third point. Please.
None of the entries in the books of account has been omitted in the process of compilation, and nothing which is not in the books of account has found place in the statement.
Okay, so this pretty much is again very similar to the kind of errors we were talking about, right? When something is there in the books of accounts and not in the financials, and the other way around. So we should make sure that whatever is here is also reflecting there. Whatever is there is also reflecting here. I cannot omit one and just have it on the other thing alone, because financial statements are made based on this only, right? Books of accounts. Cool. Then, okay, maybe in this omitted can be understood the compilation. Nothing which is not in the books of accounts has been found in plain this thing. Okay. Okay. Clear with the first 3 points. Any doubts in the 1, 2, 3 points? All good. Okay. Next one. Information conveyed. No, naane padcha. Seri vara neenga padinga. Okay. Super. So what is the meaning of the words clear and unambiguous? Sorry. What is the meaning of the word clear and unambiguous? Seri clear na enna? Okay. Crystal clear. Okay. Crystal mari theliva irukku. Understand? Enadhu? Sorry. Hey, நானு திருப்பேன்டா, சத்தமா சொல்லுங்கடா. Okay, fine, nice. Okay, then unambiguous. What does it mean by ambiguous? What does it mean by ambiguity? Ambiguous, confusing, not specific, not very clear. Again, not sorry, wait. It is vague. Okay, unambiguous is not vague. When you say ambiguous, it's vague. I'm trying to start from ambiguous. Yes, Harshan, please.
Something has more more meaning.
Okay.
Many interpretations.
Okay, fine. Okay, but basically when you say ambiguous, it just means being vague, or right, something like that. Something very unclear, not understandable. So we need to make sure that the information conveyed in the FS or the financial statements is clear and unambiguous, right? See, all of this is ideally something that you need to do as accountants. Already you've learned all this in accounts, correct? In your 11th standard, 12th standard theory, you would have learned this as the basics. Why are we learning it again? We are learning from a different angle or a different perspective, because then we learned, we are doing the accounts, we are doing to pass the 11th standard, 12th standard, then your foundation, all that, right? So you did the accounts, so you learned how to do the accounts. Now you're on the flip side and you need to check the accounts done by somebody else. So you need to check if that person has done all this in his accounts. Okay, clear? Same way, one more thing is on the whole, this entire subject, like I said, it requires, so again, for those who know it and don't know it, I will be teaching accounts also, tax also. Here, there's no choice for me because this is not a standalone subject. This is not like EAS. Okay, I mean, even AS can be integrated here and there, but let's say it's not a very standalone thing. You need to know accounts for it. You need to know audit. I mean, the accounts, tax, GST, everything in order to understand audit completely. Okay, because unless you know how to do the accounts correctly, you cannot say whether the account is correct. Correct? Do you get me? See, unless you know how to prepare or draw proper financial statements, you will not know whether a person has done a mistake or not. Correct? So that is how it is. Okay. So basically, the information should be clear and unambiguous. Then the next point, please. Go. Okay. Now let's come to this part. I think this is a pretty interesting one. So we're talking here about accounting standards, right? So properly classified, described, disclosed. Okay. In conformity with the accounting standards. So here we're talking about the AS. Now let's go here. Coming back here. So which point was this one? We're going to the fifth point. Okay. So I'm not writing every point here. I'm just writing which one I'm explaining. So we're at the fifth point here. So here we're talking about the accounting standard. Three things. What are the 3 points there? Classified. So we're talking about classification. Okay. Description. Disclosure. Okay. Okay. So we're talking about CCD or CDD. Okay. CDD. Fine. Right. So classification, then your description or describe, and then your disclosure. Now, accounting standard. Does your accounting standard, let's go from backwards, prescribe something called disclosure? I told you every accounting standard has what? Recognition, measurement, disclosure. Basic, everything will have. Disclosure most of padike maatona exam ko varadu no most of padik maatona. So anyway, disclosure is a part of this thing, so you need to know it. So ideally every accounting standard will give you a proper method of disclosure, or generally let's say when you want to show PP, gross, then accumulated depreciation, then net, you draw a table like a schedule, and on the face of the balance sheet only one number will come, net number alone will come. Or how you do in the balance sheet, like a T-shape. Let's leave companies, let's do the T-shape balance sheet. So you do the normal T-shape balance sheet. Okay, how do you show the trade receivables? Debit side. Okay, asset. Okay, sorry. Okay, then along with bad debt, will you show it gross or net? Net. And how will you do it? So it will be like a trade receivable minus PODD, provision for doubtful debts, bad BD, PODD, what you want to call it. Then the net amount comes here. Okay. So that's how we show it, right? We don't do gross, we show the net, right? That's what it is. So on the other hand, let's go to this thing. Do you guys remember non-profit organization accounting, NPO, foundation? Super. Now, any event-based expenditure or income and all, the fund raised for a particular specific event, like let's say annual day funds raised versus annual day expenditure, net or gross? Net, you'll show the net amount, right? But on the other hand, generally your subscriptions and other expenditure. Subscription will be income and expenditures, normal expenditure, club expenditure, other expenditure will be the expenditure. So you have a specific way of showing everything. Right? There's gross, there is net, some place like this, some place like this. So this is like the disclosure. Where do you disclose it? Or how do you present it on the balance sheet? Similarly, what you need to do, the notes, disclosure, not just on the face of that more of presentation. And when it comes to disclosure, it goes to the footnotes or the notes to accounts. How do you do this? Like I said, gross, accumulated depreciation, net. You want to show it, the table like this, tabular format, vertical, horizontal, everything be present, right? Then description. Can we call assets, like say land and building, plant and machinery, as tangible assets? Is it correct or wrong? Are they tangible assets? Are they tangible assets? Yes or no? They are tangible assets, right? I can touch them. I can take furniture, I'm touching it. But can I call it tangible assets on the balance sheet? Why? PPE. Okay. What is PPE full form? Right. So it has to be called property, plant and equipment, right? I cannot, then let me know uniformity. If I'm going to call it tangible asset, one person calls it asset, one person calls it, let's say physical asset, let's say one person calls fixed asset. These are all different words used to describe it. But when you're putting on the balance sheet, you have to do it only in a specific manner, right? So that is the description. That's the meaning of description. The words have to use the way in which the standards are prescribed, or the Schedule 3 to Companies Act in case of a company, and otherwise your general accounting principles specific. Okay, so that's the description part. Then we go on to the classification, last thing, right? What are different types of classification that you know? Long term, short term, current, non-current, financial, non-financial, monetary, non-monetary, different places you have different classification, right? So all of this will come into the picture. Now, here, apart from this and all, you also need to talk about, make sure that the accounts are in conformity with the accounting standard in the prescribed manner, right? Okay. Same way, let's go to the last point also, and then I'll explain one example together. Okay. Right. So when we say operational results and assets and liabilities. So operational results, where do you find out the operational results? Statement of profit and loss. Super. So basically, your performance, your financial performance. Do you know the difference between financial performance and financial position? Okay, one sec. Space here. Okay. So I'll just use the space here. Yeah. So there is, I'm just using the space here. It is. So there is financial performance and financial position. Rendu FP. Okay. One we talk about the performance. Okay, and one we talk about P and we talk about the position. Yes. So position, right? So here it is the balance sheet and here it is the P&L. So P&L talks about performance. It talks about the operational results. It is a period statement, like for a particular period. But your financial balance sheet is on a particular date, right? So it's a position. So can you tell me how would you write the heading of statement of profit and loss account? Fulla. P&L in a full form. Statement of profit or loss. Okay, I want the last part mainly. For the year ended. For the year ended. For the year ended. Right. What let's say a balance sheet? Asset. So a financial performance over a period of time can be even for, do you know, there's something called interim financial statements. Interim financial statements. In between, like interim financials. Okay, interim financials are nothing but it is not for 1 year. It is done every quarter or half yearly, quarterly, like that. Especially listed companies, like companies that are listed in the Indian Stock Exchange and all that, right? They're supposed to mandatorily give out like quarterly statements, right? So for that quarterly compliance purpose, all the listed entities have to mandatorily give out financial statements. So the accounts of financial statements are prepared for those entities on a quarterly basis. Yeah, so basically, the P&L can be for any period of time. It may not be only for 1 year. Can be 3 months, 1 month, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, whatever. For analysis purpose, generally always done for a 1 year. But it's a period statement. Period statement because it is from a particular date to a particular date. Whatever happened, whatever income I got, whatever expenditure I incurred, everything I'm going to put in the same place and show you the net profit or loss as a result. On the other hand, balance sheet is as at. Apna, I can do it today, I can do it tomorrow, I can do it every day. Each day it can change, right? Every day I'm going to spend something or the other and something is going to happen, some change is going to happen in the balance sheet, right? So at that particular point of time, you know that some change that keeps happening. So ultimately, balance sheet can be done on any particular day, but whenever I do it, I will know the position on that date. Today, what do I have with me? What do I have? Assets, liabilities. Simple example. Your bank account is the best example, or like a balance, not exactly a balance sheet, but I'm giving you an example of an asset. It's an asset. If you remember technically talk, it's an asset. But let's say like a bank account. So you know what all came in to your bank account, what all went out. So any particular day you want to check, now GPay is also there. Any minute you want, you can check the balance. Check balance. GPay pano. Okay. Anyways, so you can know on a particular date. So same way for a company, assets, liabilities. I have so much. I will come to know through the financial position. That is the financial position through balance sheet. On the other hand, I will understand or come to know about the financial performance from the P&L. Understood this much? Clear? Okay. Right. So now these both have to give me a true and fair view. Right? Okay. So that is the reason I'm trying to say true and fair view of the state of affairs or the fair picture of operations and asset liability. Operational result from where? P&L. Asset liability from where? Balance sheet. So ultimately I'm checking everything. Right? Okay. Right. One more thing I'd like to say. So I'm going to give one small example to, combine both your 5th and 6th point and we'll just discuss. I think we can wrap up with that, right? It's almost like 1:20. So I think we'll discuss that and then I'll open the floor to questions and we can close after that. Okay. எல்லாம் பசிக்க ஆரம்பிச்சுக்கலாம் மூஞ்சி அப்படியே வாட ஆரம்பிக்கும் அப்புறம் ஐயோ இட்லி இருக்கானேன்னு தோணும் எல்லாம் வேணாம் 10 minutes விட்டுருவேன் 1:30 ஷாப் ஓகே ஏற்கனவே அப்படி இருக்குன்றீங்களா என்னாச்சு ஏற்கனவே அப்படி இருக்கா பசிக்குதா என்னாச்சு 10 minutes தான் 1:30 ஷார்ப் ஓகே cool right so I kind of started late. I mean, like I just took like max 2 hours, I guess 1 hour, maybe 1 hour 45 minutes. Whatever. Okay, so let's just close today's class with one example. Okay, one last example. Now, when we talk about accounting standards and we spoke about description, classification, disclosure, all that. Apart from that, there's also this concept of measurement, right? Like how to value, how to measure certain things. Let's take a basic, simple example. Okay. AS2. What is it? Yeah. Okay. Inventories. Okay. So we have inventories here. So how do you value inventory? What is it said in that? How do you value it? Okay. So like I said, audit must solve I have to teach you other things as well. In case for those who do not know, just in case somebody is new to accounting standards, don't know group 1 and all that, it's a way in which you have to measure your inventory. Inventory is nothing but stock. Inventory is your goods ready, raw material stock, finished goods ready to sell and all that. Okay. So cost or NRV, whichever is lower, right? Cost or net realized value, whichever is lower. This is the account. Guys, 10 minutes, just 10 minutes. Okay. Fine. Okay. So let's say your cost of a particular, let's say the inventory of a big, huge company is, let's say, 500 crores. Okay. And let's say the NRV is only 495 crores. Okay. 495 crores. Now, ideally, how much should it be valued at? 495 crores. Correct. But how much are they valuing at? Let's say they're valuing at 500. Now, this is an accounting standard and it tells you need to do like this. But whether I value at 500 or 495, balance sheet will tally. Correct. The balance sheet